Someone, before we go further, and before we lose some of our audience on Facebook, Bishop Timothy asked the question: once you engage, do you start over? Which I'm not sure. I asked him for clarity, so I'm waiting to see if he's going to
Okay.
bring some. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good question. Somebody had asked us before a question about engagement. Once you get engaged, does that mean that you can start having sex? Now, a Christian person asked that question, like, engagement does not mean marriage. And a lot of people do it, but it does not mean marriage. You still have to wait until your wedding night to be one with your spouse.
That's right.
But I'm not sure what that question was about, starting over. Hmm.
Yeah, I'm waiting for them to clarify.
I was going to say that communication is a key with the family. You know, they should be sitting down talking to one another regularly. So then when somebody else comes in, they're introducing this new person, and there should be a communication to let them know what they see and why they see it, you know, and what their concerns are. And it should be where I'm saying it should be. We know that this is like 75% not taken that way.
Right.
But it should be taken well, okay, if my family says something that I need to be looking. I need to be paying attention. But most of the time, a person that says there's so much love with this person, which actually is lust with this person, that they don't even want to see. They don't want to lose this person because they feel like they're acting like this is the last person on earth, but it's not. You know, like that. A guy had told me a long time ago, never take the first thing that's coming across. It's somebody else coming right behind it. And if we allow ourselves to get that mindset, well, this is the last person on earth for me. If I don't get this person, I ain't gonna have nobody. Then like you're fooling yourself.
That's desperate thinking right there. That's desperate. Yeah, even when a person say, you know, I'm getting too old, so I just gotta pick somebody. You know, that's desperation that's speaking. You know, that's how the world thinks.
So I'm sorry. Bishop Timothy says, "Do you start over as friends?" I guess once you get engaged, do you start over as friends? Like I'm still trying to figure out what he mean by that.
Once you get engaged, you should be moving forward towards setting a date for marriage. You know, your relationship should be moving forward. There's so many people that get engaged, and then they like, well, we're gonna date for like another 2 or 3 years. But once you get engaged, you should be willing to set a date and move forward. But it doesn't happen like that a lot. You know, if God is showing you this is the person for you, you go forward with that person. You don't have to start over as friends because you don't already built that friend relationship. You should be ready to move forward into marriage. Yeah, should have.
Yeah, should have.
Yeah. Should have, yeah.
Well, with that, I do have a quick question here. So I know that earlier you was talking about that it shouldn't get married if you just only know someone for 3 months or whatever, and then jump and get married because you really haven't had time to develop that relationship. So, what your opinion? What is your idea of a safe period for marriage?
Now we got married in 8 months.
Okay.
Yeah, we got that. Don't happen for everybody though. You gotta let
God. I've heard those stories too. Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta definitely let God lead you. If God is saying this is the person, then you move forward. You're not too sure about it, but you just want to get married because you don't want to lose this person, or you feel like, you know, I got to get married. You know why you get married, and know that this is the person that God yoked you to be together. If it's 2 or 3 months and God said, okay, this is the person, then you obey God. But if you don't know and you're not sure, but you just doing it, then I always say, go through the seasons with a person. You gotta know a lot about that person before you marry. But if God is in it, God can do anything. He'll send that person your way, and next thing you know, you're getting married. It's been like a whirlwind. So God is in control, but some people just need to wait a little while and they're already having issues and all that. And like we get married, but y'all can't even get along. And you talking about getting married? No, we need to wait a little while, and build some trust and build your relationship up, and then move forward and see where it's gonna go at.
And don't allow your flesh to lead you, because a lot of people allow their flesh to lead them into getting married, because they say, well, we got to have sex, we got to have, like what their flesh is burning for, but flesh is only wants to be satisfied for that moment. And sometimes like they'll use this game, like trying to wine and dine you and marry you because they're trying to get something from you.
Right.
But they don't want you, they just want what you got. And then after you get into the situation, then they're gone. And most relationships are like that. They allow their flesh to lead them, and their flesh say, okay, I done got them now. I can move on now. This is something else. If you notice now, when dealing in a relationship, if you withstand from having sex, you see how long a person will hang around. You'll see how long they will hang around. Because
Amen.
the more and
Amen.
more you say no, the more and more you say no, I'm not doing it, until the less and less you're gonna see of that person.
Right.
The less and less you'll see.
Now tell Ray about our testimony of how we, on our first date, Burnie got an answer that same night. That's why I say, God, if God is in control and God is leading you, then you know what to do. But if you're not sure, don't be getting mad in 3 and 4 months. But when God say this is the one, then you can take it to the bank.
See, because when I was in the dating stage, I said I was gonna do something different. And so I always did it my way, and I always got the same results. I get the same results. So I said, Lord, I'm gonna leave it in your hands. I'm gonna let you lead and guide me on finding a wife. I didn't want a girlfriend. I wanted a wife. So I let the Lord lead me. So everybody who came around, I prayed over that person. And the Lord would say, nope, that's not the one. Nope, not the one. It would always give me things that person would come out and say, what he would do, that would let me know that this is not the one for you. So when we met like in a restaurant, I guess you would call it. We would come on, I just come in to get something to eat. And said she was in line, so I said, oh, she was nice. And I said, well, I got to strike up a conversation and whatnot. So I said, you been here before? You know what's on the menu? Like that. I didn't know what to say. So I just said that. so she looked around and said, no, I would just come in here to get something to eat on my way too. And all of a sudden, like we ordered our food, we sat down, and we were talking. I think we was in there like in the afternoon, like almost a little after, I think it was after 2.
Not like 4.
About 4 o'clock. We stayed there from that time until the place was closing.
And talking.
We just talked the whole evening. The place was closing. They had a live band there. And the band was packing up to go. And so we were the last 2 people in there. And so when we left and when I was so excited, and I said, but I know, Lord, I'm praying over, because I said, if you say this is not the one for me, I'm moving. I wasn't even gonna let myself get in the way. I know I enjoyed it and everything, but if you say no, then I'm moving on. I prayed, and I'm gonna tell you, when I prayed and I asked God, was this the one or not? By the time I got off my knees, get ready to get in the bed, the Lord said, this is the one for you, that she'll make you a great wife. I fell in the bed. It was like it caught me in midair. That's how quick the answer came. It caught me in midair. I fell in the bed. I was so happy. I also think I slept for maybe about an hour and a half that night. But I was searching. Yeah, he said the search is over. And she'll make you a great wife. And once you heard that, that was it. That was it. And then from that point on, the Lord just led everything that to come together. But see, in the beginning, like, you're gonna find imposters. Many imposters gonna come, because the devil hears it too. The devil hears what you're asking God for. So you're gonna see imposters. They're gonna come up. They're gonna look like everything like you're looking for. But don't be moved by what you see. Because everything you see is not real.
That's true.
Everything you see is not real. So pray about everything. Don't because it blew your mind, pray about it. Believe, pray about it. You'll be on the safe side when you do. But yes, through God,
all things are possible, because Burnie asked me to marry him. I think we was Together about 3 months. He got on his knees and asked me to marry him. Like, okay. We both knew that God had, we both knew by then that God had brought us together. We had spent so much time together, praying for each other, speaking the word over each other, going to church together and all that. I mean, we was inseparable. We did everything together. We was together all the time, except for when we were working. He go to his house, go, you know, my house, and we just had the best time. So we knew that it was God, and we didn't know that God had the big picture of what he wanted to do with us together. So marriage is not all about us just being in love and us two together. It's about ministry, and it's about us moving toward our purpose together. That's what it's all about. But a lot of people always think, oh, I married my sweetheart and my soulmate and this and that. But God looked at like, I put y'all together for a purpose. The enemy gonna be trying to wear you out, but with you two together, y'all can overcome the enemy and go forward and do what I called you to do. So that's what it's all about. Amen.
God is the one who keeps relationships together. He keeps the marriage together. So you got to keep them first.
Yeah.
You can't put them on the back burner, and then when you get into you bump into a hole or bump in the road, now I'm gonna go get God. No, God has to be the one leading you. Leading you, then these things they won't interfere. But everything that comes your way leads you into prayer. It's supposed to. It's a purpose of you staying in communication with God. So you cannot lead the Father out. You can't do it. You can't do it. Or that's a recipe for failure, right?
Amen. 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 That's good. Wow, that's good. Okay. So the Bishop Timothy said, thank you for answering his question.
Oh, did we answer it?
Yeah. Yeah, he answered. Yeah, he answered.
Amen.
Thank you. Yes. So I guess we go, anything else, Ray, you wanted to add or say?
Yeah, actually, we have been talking about the walking away when you know that God is not involved. Okay. And I know I'm not the only one that feels there has been times when that is not easy to do because of what you see, and especially with men, because with men we are very visual, you know. And do you have? And again, I do understand you do not want to disobey the Holy Spirit. But God is saying, but in your experience, was it easy in the past to walk away from situations like that, or I guess it's not really easy. But give us some idea.
I would say in the beginning, I would say without God, it's not easy. And then with God, if you're not letting God lead you, it becomes difficult. Because we're wired one way and we respond one way. We see something that looks good, yes, our body gonna respond. Our body's gonna respond. And the thing is how much attention you give to that.
Whatever you feed the most, right?
That's true. Whatever you see the most, that's right. Okay. Yeah. It's definitely hard to walk away from a situation with someone that you really love, really was into, and you find out that person is not the one for you. And then God is saying, you know, I want to take you up higher. You need to walk away from this person. And we hold on and we hold on and we hold on. But sometimes God will have it where he'll have that person to walk away from you. And then you still hurt then, like, okay, God, but God was like, I've been telling you to cut it off, but now I had to get into that person so that person could let walk you away. Go. Yeah. So now at square one, now you learned your lesson this time. Okay, God, when you say no, you really mean no, God.
You mean no. That's right.
Yeah, you mean no. Yeah, it is something else. It's hard to walk away from a person. Remember you were saying about God said don't marry that person.
Oh yeah. That was a situation that I was in. I was gonna marry this person. The Lord had told me that no, don't marry her because she's not for you. He said she don't love you, and she's gonna leave you if you do. You know, I'm trying to pray and ask God, you know, to cause somebody to change his mind about
Change his mind, right?
Yeah. So I'm praying hard to, you know, change his mind about this person. Lord, every time I pray this, I get the same answer. Every time, man. It was never a different answer. But you know what? I was disobedient, and I did it anyway. And did the Lord's word happen just like He said? Just like, and I said I will never disobey Him again, never, because He showed me before it happened, and I went ahead and did it because I thought I could change God's mind. You know, but when God say no,
He means no.
It's no.
No. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because I remember a few years back in the church that we were at, one of the young ladies was dating this gentleman, and the pastors told her not to marry. He wanted to marry her, and they told her not to marry him because it was not going to be good. She went ahead, like she, you know, I guess she did what you did, like prayed and said, you know, God to change his mind, or things will get better once we get married. They got married, and oh my God, he took her almost for every dime she had. Yeah. He was a swindler.
Yeah, that's that potential thing, falling in love with potential. Yeah, he don't really take care of his children, but I know if he have a child by me, he'll be a great father. But I can see it in him, so therefore I'm believing him, and I'm gonna marry him anyway. But if he's not taking care of his own children, what are you looking at? But you know how our heart can mess us up sometimes because we're not looking through our spiritual eyes, we're looking through our fleshly eyes, and we seeing what we want to see because it makes us feel a certain way, like you said. So we feel like, okay, this feels good to me, and you know, they'll get themselves together one day. I know this man is he's cheating on me every chance he gets, but he's a good man. Every other area in his life is good. So I see the potential in him. So I'm just gonna take a leap.
How does somebody define someone being a good man if they're cheating on you? I don't
Exactly.
get that concept.
Exactly. I don't either. Because a lot of women feel like they can change a man. If I be good enough to him, if I pray for him enough, if I give him enough sex and all this and that, you know, I'll change his mind. He won't want another woman. He'll just want me. But women believe that, but it's not true.
It's definitely not true.
You know, a woman is a woman is a woman.
Okay. Yep. And you just be a forever booty call.
Exactly.
With the ring on.
Huh?
With the ring on it. What Maggie said with the ring on it.
Like, come on. Oh my God.
I know.
It's sad though. It's so sad because none of us can change anyone.
Right.
Only God can do the changing. But like Pastor Burnie said, if God said no, then it's no. And He's telling you no for your own good. But we want to hold on to what we see and what we want, not realizing that He had this great big picture and there's better things for us if we just wait and obey Him.
That's so good. You don't want to do it. Nobody wants to wait. I want what I want, and I want it now. I'm tired of being single. Yeah, I'm tired of being single. I'm trying to slip it in there. But they always say, married people always say, just wait on the Lord. I'm like, well, look, y'all got somebody left in the bed every night. And we get in the bed by ourselves. I'm telling you, there were times when I've been married before too. It ain't all about laying up in the bed. You going through so much. You ain't in the bed all the time for one thing. You only 2 hours in the bed. Yeah, it's other things that you gotta do with life, but other things come with marriage besides laying up in the bed all the time. You want to be in a marriage that's ordained by God. You don't want to be in a marriage with anybody and just snatching up anybody and saying, I just want a husband, I just want a wife. You want to be with a person, your covenant partner, where you can walk through this life together and grow old together. That's what you want. Yeah.
Ministry together.
Ministry together. That's what you want.
Yes.
You don't want to be like in a relationship where it's just about if I could get him, I can keep him, I can keep him away from everybody else. Meanwhile, it's backfiring and blowing up in your face because every chance they get, they messing with everybody else.
Yeah.
So that plan is not working. So it's making you frustrated because you can't figure out a way to keep this person.
Yeah.
You gotta figure out, you gotta stop. Now they say just stop for a moment. Stop at that stop sign and say, stop. Look, this is not working out for you. This is not for you. Because if they cared about you, they wouldn't do that.
That's true.
Exactly.
A lot of people don't use the common sense button. They don't use that. They want to use the flesh. And the flesh tied up with the emotions will lead you astray every time.
Wrong.
Every time. Yeah.
Lead you wrong. Every time. That's right.
Well,
I'm sorry. Some people are having a hard. Why are people telling me they can't get on? I'm not understanding. It's the same link that we all are on tonight.
Really?
Yeah. I'm sorry. All right. So yeah, that's just like I think about when we were younger, and foolish. And we say, if I give him a baby, he'll stay with me. Like, come on.
Oh my God. That's true. That's a
baby don't make a man stay.
They make them run for me faster.
Okay.
Or the other option, way of saying it, if I buy her a car and a house, she'll stay with me.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah. House and car, she'll stay with me.
Buying her everything, and she still break your heart. Still break your heart.
Jesus.
Pastor Maggie, you had a question about how to make a marriage or relationship work with cultural differences. Now, my husband and I, we know that all too well because our daughter is married to a Nigerian guy.
Oh.
And, we see the things that they have to do for each other in order to make their marriage work. She can't be all about I'm American and he can't be all about I'm Nigerian. They got to bring it together so it can work. So she's learning how to cook his food and some of his, she knows, we say, girl, were you born in Nigeria? Because she can speak the language and she wears the pretty colors and all that stuff. And he's learning how to eat the food that we have and all that. And they're really bringing their culture together. But it wouldn't have worked if, when they first got married, it was a little rocky because they were trying to learn each other's culture. But they both had to realize that, we got to come together and we got to get on the same page. We got to, adapt each other's culture. And that's what they do. They just came from Nigeria not too long ago. And, she's just loving it. She's loving it. And he loves, outside of the family and the things that we can teach him and all that. So, you definitely got to be open when you got those cultural differences. They both believe in the Lord Jesus Christ. So that makes it much better. It brings them together spiritually and they pray together and all that. So that's how to really make it work, because if you're on two different pages and you trying to, no, we're not going to raise my kid like my kid going to be named this and all that, because, they going forward to have a baby. So they already got some names and they're going to put some of his name in it and some of hers. And, and they're going to try to bring it all together. And that's what makes it work. They're in agreement. And we know that's how it has to be when you got cultural differences like that. That's in everything. Even with me and Burnie, I'm a country girl. He's a city guy. So we do things differently. He calls me country sometimes, and I say little city slicker and all and all that. But we know how to bring it together and not put each other down for where we came from, but to just make it work. Make it work. Mm-hmm.
So I guess it balances each other's out with the combination. You create a combination of a new culture combined together. So
yes, it is beautiful, and we get to benefit from all of that, because when we go where they got the African music playing, and everybody comes together, all their friends, and Burnie and I, we dancing and everything, and we enjoying the music also. So we loving it too.
I don't know about Nigeria. Some of their food are very spicy though. So very spicy.
Oh, he loves that food.
I love spicy food.
Oh, you love? Oh, okay.
It's too spicy for you.
It's even too strong for me. But I love it though. Man.
Yeah, it's very spicy.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let me see. So I think we talked a little bit about it, but if you want to talk about blended families, how to make that work. Like if someone is, and it has a lot to do with culture as well, because
Yeah.
when you have people from different backgrounds and they decide they want to come together, how do we make that work?
Oh my goodness. And boy, with children involved and stuff, and
Yes.
child that's a teenager, and you ain't my daddy, and you don't tell me what to do and all that. You know, I think that's a conversation you definitely gotta have before you get married, especially with children involved. We gotta sit down and we gotta talk about what we're gonna do, how we're gonna discipline the kids. And you know, it's a lot of talking that you're gonna have. You gotta go an extra mile besides someone that's just getting married with no children. You got to bring it all together, and you got to have a time where you can sit down with the children if they're old enough and talk about, you know, mom and daddy, we're gonna be on one accord. Can't run to this one, you can't do that. You know, it's a lot involved in it, but it got to be some agreement. It definitely, and the wife going, if the wife is the one bringing the children, she has to eventually give her husband authority over the children, because a lot of wives like, no, you can't discipline them. They're not your children. Then okay, you trust the man to marry you, but you don't trust him with your children. You know, you got to marry somebody that you can trust with your children. But I know how women can be, you know, that's our babies. But if you're going to, you know, if you're getting married, you bringing children in, you got to be a big, happy family. You have to, and you can't let outsiders come in.
And you also have to take the time before you get married. You got to take the time to bring the families together.
You do.
You know, if say that the potential husband has some children, okay, and the potential wife had children, you have to bring them together so they'll get to know one another. See, and that way you ease the shock. Because if you never bring them together, they'll say, who are these people? You know, so it'd be like a culture shock. So you bring them together so that they'll get a chance to meet one another, they'll get to know one another before you get married, and you will see how the blendedness comes together more easy. Now it all depends on how much they see one another, because sometimes it's like, okay, they get along real good, and then you might have some cases where they don't get along. So it has to be a slow process. Slow process.
You can't rush the children.
Don't rush the children, because that have a major effect right there. Don't rush the children.
I think the key thing you said, you know, because a lot of times women, like you said, you know, that's my child, that's my son, that's my daughter, don't put your hand, don't say anything to them. You know, if there's a problem, let me address it. You know, they take that authority and that control. And here it is, you have a husband who's the head of the household, and you have not given him, you know, you guys have not come to agreement, because I won't even say give him, because he is the head. So you don't have to give him anything. He is who he is.
Let him walk in his role.
You have come together in agreement as to how we're going to handle situations when they arise with the children, with our different family members. These are conversations that need to be had, because at the end of the day, it's going to be you two. So you got to be able to agree.
I agree. I agree.
It can work. On the same page, what if there's the fiance have kids and the husband does too, but what if there's a red flag that they don't get along with the kids? What are some advice for families? Is that a step, a woman that just like, okay, is this the right one for me? Or because that could be chaotic. That could be really chaotic and stuff like that. So
it can be very, very chaotic, but again, that way the prayer comes in. See, where we don't rush the process, we let the process, play out. Because if we rush it, we'll miss things. Like we're saying about the red flags. Red flags do happen, but we have to be alert to pay attention to them. See, if God hasn't said this is the one to go to, or the one to be with, then you're gonna have all kind of problems automatically. But if God said this is the one to be with, then God's gonna bring it together.
He has a plan.
God already has a plan for it together. Let him bring it together. The problem is we try to put it together. Let God do put it together. And it'll work out better. It may be a slower process, you know, but you gotta be patient.
I like what you said, because I believe that sometimes we don't think that red flags will exist. But red flags are there because we're in the flesh. So
Yeah.
there's always going to be some form of red flag. But what you said, it basically ties, depends on how we handle it in our prayer life, in our relationship. I mean, as a couple, you know, how do we deal with those red flags that come up in every story so that they won't become an obstacle, so to speak? But yes, thank you for that. Appreciate that.
Amen.
Yeah, when as a couple, if you see red flags, that's something you definitely got to sit down and talk about. And then you got to see if these red flags are red flags that I can live with, or that I need to live without. And that's what some red flags you kind of can like, okay, we can deal with this. But some red flags you like, oh no, this is all for me. I can't do this. You know, you gotta definitely know. That's why in a relationship you gotta know where you stand, and you gotta know what you're willing to take and what you're not. This is a no-go, or this like, no, I can't do that. Because some people don't want to marry people that have children. And if you meet somebody that has a child, you might want that person so bad, you're like, okay, I'll do it. But then you know, I don't really like kids like that. So why am I gonna marry somebody that has children? You know, but sometimes we let our flesh lead us and we like, okay, I can do it. And then when you meet that child, like, oh my goodness.
It's baby's kids.
Yeah. Remember that movie we saw? And that little boy was something else, and that man was like, I gotta get away from this woman because that's not it right here. But you definitely gotta know what you want to take and what you don't, because you don't have to take everything. You're single. So you like you don't have to jump in there and just take it on. You like, okay, I look at the situation and I see, but as a couple, you know, we can sit down and we can talk about this and see if this is what, but sometimes you just gotta say, okay, I can't do this. Be mature enough to accept it and move on.
That's a key. That's a key.
Yeah.
That is a key. Be mature.
Yep.
Mature.
Everything ain't for everybody.
That's right. But on be grown up.
Yep. Exactly. That's true.
Grown up pants, big boy pants. Yeah.
That's true. Big boy pants.
That's good. This is good. I'm enjoying this.
Yeah.
I have another question that was posed, and I'm going to ask it. What do you do when there are when a person has trust issues?
That's a big red flag. So why do you have trust issues?
You have to go all the way back to the beginning on that one. You got to go all the way back to the beginning. If the person has trust you got to find out why, what.
Yeah, what happened?
What happened and where. Because those issues are going to affect every relationship. Because if they have a trust issue, like some people say, I can't trust a person as far as I can see him. You know, some people will say, I can't trust a person as far as I can throw him. You know, if you can't trust a person to go to the store and come back, and you think like they doing something, then you don't need to be with that person, because you need to get yourself corrected first before you can get into a relationship with anybody. Because you'll never trust anybody. I don't care who it is. You'll never trust them. So the trust issues have to be addressed. They have to be addressed first before you even get involved yourself with anybody. Because they will destroy any relationship you try to have.
Right.
So how do you do that?
What, when trust issues for?
Yes.
Yeah, we talked about that. We did some coaching a while back with a couple that had trust issues, and we said the person that broke the trust has to be the one that you're accountable now to win that trust back. And if you don't want to do it, then it's not going to work. Like, okay, I'm going to the store, and the person knew that going to the store meant, okay, I'm going to the store. I'll be back. Supposed to be back in an hour, but you back in about 4 hours. So that's how you lost the trust. So now when you go to the store, you got to be accountable now. So when I go to the store, I call you when I get to the store. I call you when I get in my car and on my way back. But if that other person that broke the trust don't want to do that, how can they win that trust back? They can't do it. So you have to be an open book now that you have lost that trust in another person, and it has to be won back. But if you don't want to put the work in, it's not going to work. But if you both saying, we're going to work on our relationship, we want to build to get the trust back, then you both gotta work. It's a hard road back, but it can happen.
Yeah.
But you gotta put the work in. You definitely gotta, if the trust issue was you texting people you had no business texting, now you gotta give your phone up. Okay, let me see who you call, let me check this and that. No, you can't check okay, well, the trust can't be won back because I'm gonna never be able to trust you if you still keeping stuff from me. But a lot of people do that. They're like, okay, I know I cheated on you, I'm back now, but I don't want to do anything to work on a relationship. You know, I still want to go and do as I please. That relationship is not going to work because you haven't built the trust back. Once trust is gone, it's a hard road, long road to get it back, but it can come back. But both people, especially the one that committed the whatever was going on, they definitely are the one that's gonna have to work 100 times harder to get it back. And most people that broke the trust don't want to work to get it back. They want the other person to do all the work. Like they didn't do anything. So you definitely have to, you got to work hard. You got to be accountable. That's the number one word. You got to be accountable when you broke the trust, and you got to win that person's trust back. You got to be an open book. You got to do some calling, checking on them, let them know where you are. I'm here, I'm there, and I don't want to do that. Well, if you don't want to do that, then this is not going to work because you shouldn't have did what you did anyway. So now that you've done it, if you want me back, then this is the road we have to go down, and then the trust will come back. So it's gonna be a long road to healing when trust is concerned. You don't ever want to break trust because it's hard to get it back.
Yeah. What if you have someone who's dating and having trust issues, like they just met the person and having trust? What advice would you give to that person? Hopefully they're listening.
What you're saying is that the person that's just dating, just starting to date someone?
Yeah.
Okay. And they just started to date and they have trust issues already?
Yeah.
I mean, or did they come already into a relationship with trust issues?
I think that's a good question. I want to say that they probably came into the relationship with trust issues.
They wasn't ready to date then.
They're not healed. So
Okay.
they're not healed, so they have to be healed before they can go into a relationship.
Okay. Okay.
And we all come into a relationship with some sort of baggage. We all do. I know I dragged some and you did too. We both drug a little baggage into our relationship, but the thing was we was willing to work on what we needed to work on. You know, I needed a little healing, he needed a little healing. We wasn't broken.
No, I get it.
With this flesh, you're in the flesh and things happen. So we when God put two people together, they can heal each other. So I knew what he needed, he knew what I needed, and praying and restoration and all that gets us back on course. But when a person first meets somebody and then there's brokenness already and they're not trusting each other because of a past relationship or whatever, or even when a person just meet a person and then something happens and they lose the trust in about 3 months, that's a big red flag. That means you need to run because it's gonna be some more stuff going on if you first getting to know a person and got trust issues already.
Yeah.
You gotta get healed, take care of yourself, ask God to heal you, and just stop dating for a while. A lot of people don't like to hear that. You don't need to be dating right now. You need to work on you. Once you work on you, then you could see a relationship for out of different set of lenses. Then the way you used to see it when you were broken and unhealed. Now you see the relationship different. How did I? Because me and Burnie always talk about how in the world did we marry the people we were married to? What was wrong with it? Because we was in a different season of life then, and choosing people for different reasons. Like, I never chose that person, but that's a season that we walked through. But we're different now. We're more mature now. We've grown in God, so now we know who we are and we love ourselves now. So now we know we wouldn't pick anybody that is not going in God like we are, or just at a standstill in life. Those are people that you would pick. But that trust is something else.
It's a big major thing. Yeah.
Oh, it's very major. Yeah. It is.
Okay. Ray, you want to say something?
No, I'm good.
I'm saying, like, it's very delicate. The trust thing is so hard to gain back. I mean, you start with it, you build up to the point where you have it, and then when something major happens, they drop it. It takes, you may have been dating for like 6 months, and that trust issue has been damaged so much, it takes a year to probably get halfway back to where you were because of what happened.
Yeah.
So it's like a healing process that has to happen. But if you're willing to do the work, to work through it together, it can happen. But if it happened with both of you, and then both of you have to work together to mend it back.
The process. It can work though, but it's a process.
Okay, good. Hopefully they was listening and they got their answer. Okay. Ray, you have any more questions? Because that was all the list of questions that I've had that
No, I don't have any. I mean, I really have enjoyed this.
Me too.
Thing. It's just good to see faces, and I get comfortable with the Zoom thing.
You did good. You did good.
Zoom is a blessing.
I get it's a God, like you said, and I think what's going on with all of us, God is pressing us forward to do things that we never did before, and everything. So it's all good. I want to be obedient to Him, and so I just pick myself up, put on a suit and whatever, and go and call it a day, and stand away from the camera like this. Just kidding. Just kidding, man. But this is really, really enjoyed. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.